Joining us at noon, I'm Macy Cosmore. We begin with new details this afternoon. A Broome County man is facing multiple felonies after a fatal hit and run in the town of Dickinson late Monday night. According to the Broome County Sheriff's Office, just before 9:30 last night, deputies responded to a report of a man lying on the side of the road near the intersection of Upper Front Street and Bevere Street. Once on scene, responding officers found a man who was identified as 43-year-old Jamel Smalls of Binghamton, had sustained significant injuries and was pronounced dead at the scene. Police received a tip that the possible suspect's vehicle was located in the town of Maine. As a result of an investigation, 21-year-old Christian Rogler of Endicott was detained. Police say Rogler showed signs of impairment. The sheriff's office says Rogler struck Smalls on the crosswalk and did not stop despite knowing he struck a pedestrian. Rogler is facing 2 felonies and misdemeanors, including vehicular manslaughter and leaving the scene of a fatal motor vehicle accident. Rogler was processed and arraigned and remains in custody at the Broome County Sheriff's Office.